Ah, guns. America's mascot. Guns in VR are one of the main reasons I love virtual reality, because mechanics like physically reloading, holstering your weapon, or even just using your actual hands to aim are only really possible in VR. And even though simply having 6 degrees of freedom on each hand can help really sell the immersion of wielding a gun in VR, there are a couple things missing to get you in the game a little bit further. A VR controller is lightweight so you don't get tired, ow, but then you're missing out on the actual immersive weight of a gun. And VR gun stocks are a thing, but I've always said that a literal VR gun controller would be the dream scenario for VR shooters. And the brand Wonderfitter here was actually crazy enough to go for it. So they sent over their new M9 Smart Pistol for me to try out, and they also sponsored this video, so big thanks to them. Some people don't realize this is literally the law, but to clarify, they don't have any say over my opinions on the thing. Also just really fun to be back in Rapture again. Oh man, I love this mod. Let the sea in, I want to drown. Yeah, whale.
Ballena.
And it's literally what it looks like. It's a VR gun. It has realistic weight with a metal core. You pull the trigger that has actual resistance, and the slide shoots back. And you can even eject the magazine. Now, is it perfect? No. Is it cool? Yes. I'm loving this thing. It's a step in the right direction, and I'm really excited for where we're going from here.
Why have I not spent more time in this game, dude? This is so much fun.
It's even just a good fidget toy. But anyway, we'll get into my thoughts on this a bit later, but first off, how does this thing even work? Well, since this is not a controller with actual trackers on it, SteamVR needs a way to know where this thing is, which is where this rail system comes in. You just slide this on, tighten it, and then you can actually mount your controller on top.
What I've kind of done here, I still put the like the wrist strap on it to make sure that it doesn't actually send it flying across the room.
You just install their SteamVR drivers, and you'll have a virtual controller that shows up underneath your main controller in VR. It makes the gun a little bit more top-heavy, which isn't ideal, but it still feels good. Now, the big thing is that it's only compatible with a few games at the moment, and very few of them are perfect.
It's so hard to... don't tell me it's not working again! Dang it, no! Oh, did it just... I think SteamVR just crashed.
But the game that works the best, by far, is Pistol Whip, which I actually hadn't played before this. If you're unfamiliar, Pistol Whip is a rhythm game with a gun. That's really it. But it works really well for this accessory because there's no manual reloading required, and you also only need one controller to play, which means you get to hold the pistol in a realistic way and not fuddle around with your left controller.
My finger's getting tired. Switching hands.
The one thing about Pistol Whip is that all the music is copywritten, so I can't play any of the music from the game. So the game audio is just me breathing heavy.
There's actual, like, trigger, like, resistance. Like, your finger actually gets tired a little bit. I'm from Canada, okay? We don't have guns up here, really. Okay, if you own a VR arcade, you owe it to yourself to get one of these pistols. I'm telling you, get yourself a few of these pistols. I'm telling you, this is what they need to be chasing in every other game that's compatible with this pistol, because I'm having so much fun right now. I'm not even hamming this up like content creator style or anything, dude. This is the natural next step to like just an arcade shooting machine. Whoa. Hell yeah, dude. I keep on trying to do like little pistol spins and such. Holy crap. That is some of the most VR fun I've ever had. Fuck, I suck. Here's the thing, with the controller on top, get this up a little bit more. This thing becomes a little bit top heavy. So it's a little bit annoying because I'll show you. This thing is actually really well balanced so that you can just kind of pistol spin it. Even if they have to make the gun a little more bulky, if they could make this a full-on like SteamVR tracked controller, or like a Tundra tracker or something on top. Because like anything to bring that center weight closer to the middle, I'm impressed.
Now there are a few other games I tried with this controller, but there's one big area of friction when it comes to using this in a game other than Pistol Whip.
I need to get a rotation offset going here ASAP. My gun is pointing this way. This is that way. I need to full send it the other way. It's better. It's not good. So there's still some more driver work they need to do with this. I have to point really far down. I have to point down at a 45-degree angle.
Simple things like accessing your inventory, interacting with objects, picking things up, it just makes it a little bit more difficult to the point that you need to get really familiar and really comfortable making your own keybinds in SteamVR and basically rebinding all the important stuff onto your left controller.
Any qualms aside, I will say, like, holding a gun in-game, it feels really cool.
But I didn't want to make a keybind for every single game I was playing, so I figured I would focus all my effort on Half-Life Alyx.
I've created a new keybind, and I'll publish this as well. I've gotten rid of the teleport by pulling back on the joystick, and I've made teleport on the left hand. And I've also made clicking on the left hand actually be the thing that opens up my inventory.
Half-Life Alyx is definitely my second most recommended game to use this with, because the pistol position is actually correct. In a lot of the other games, your pistol position is the controller position on top of the gun instead of the gun itself.
I really want them to bring out software for their gun, because like the actual gun is right here and it's showing up here because this is where the controller is on top of it, right? They would greatly benefit from having a companion app. As much as I'm not a huge fan of like pretty much every accessory thing having like an app of some sort, this is an example where like I think they really do need it. A driver is not going to cut it. You need customization.
I gotta say, after I changed the keybinds on the controller, my experience of playing the game actually elevated quite a bit.
Oh, Gatherer's Garden. Almost missed this. What is this?
I almost forgot to mention, this is Half-Life Alyx, but this is a campaign mod called Return to Rapture. It's essentially Bioshock in VR. I made a video about it a while back, I'll link it at the end.
Oh my god, there's actually one! After I've set up these keybinds, this is actually pretty fun. I can kind of fat thumb walking and teleporting still.
Now, the more that I test out this controller, the more that I'm realizing what's wrong with it. And it really comes down to two big issues. The magazine can completely eject from the gun, which you might think is something that you want, but the thing is that the actual electronic piece is the magazine, with electrical contacts inside, registering an input whether it detaches or attaches.
Damn it. See, what you want with this is true immersion. And in order to have true immersion, you want to just be able to eject the mag, but you can't do that if it's just gonna bounce across the room into my cat's cat litter. Whoop. Whoop.
And since your eyes are inside the VR headset and you have a controller in your other hand, if you drop the magazine, suddenly the gun doesn't have any power anymore.
God damn it. It's really cool. I definitely think they need to do like a V2 of this.
To fix this though, the next gun they come out with, which they told me is going to be a Glock 17, the magazine is not going to fall out of the gun anymore. It's essentially going to act like the guns in Into the Radius, where you hold down the button and the magazine half ejects. And the second one that they're also fixing in that, currently in this gun, pulling the trigger does not actually fire the gun. I know that sounds weird. The thing that actually is the input in-game is the slide hitting the back of the gun.
What the? Oh, I can rapid fire? Wait, so the thing that actually triggers the gunshot, that's why there's a delay.
And at first that doesn't seem like too big of a deal, but what that actually does is cause a physical delay that can't be fixed. Because by the time the recoil in real life is already happening or is finished, then the game actually gets the input to fire. So your gun is shaking around and not pointing in the direction that you actually aimed anymore. It's not the end of the world, you can kind of predict its movement after a while, but at first it makes your aim absolutely terrible.
Figuring it out.
So like I said, they are fixing that in the next iteration.
Alright, we got it.
The other thing they shared with me is their next big project, which they told me is going to be an actual VR gun rifle. With both of these, the Glock and the rifle coming out, they really need to add buttons to these, because currently there are only 3 inputs: the slide going back, the magazine ejecting, and the magazine going in. That's 3 inputs compared to the 9 inputs on an Oculus controller. And you don't need things like a joystick on the gun.
Like if this thing just had like a D-pad right here, or something, so it had like 4 inputs right there and then another button on here, you would have so many options for keybinds. And especially if you match it with something like a VR treadmill like I've got, I could totally be playing something like Half-Life Alyx entirely just by using inputs in-game like this.
There's one other little flaw as well. On the Quest 3, one of the IR LEDs that the headset uses for tracking is in the handle of the controller, which the mount for this actually blocks. As a result, you might get some drifting here and there as you're playing. And now the big question is, do I think this thing is worth it? Well, here's the thing, it is a $200 pistol kit. And a lot of you are going like, no, never mind. But you have to consider the economics of this a little bit. This is a niche within a niche within a niche. Gaming is already a niche. VR is a niche within gaming. And then you're looking for a niche within that micro niche of people who actually want a VR gun. So I think $200 is pretty fair. It just means that it's out of reach for a lot of people who might want it. There is a cool feature they have as well, which is a TV kit. So you can set it up kind of like a Duck Hunt or a Wii situation just on a TV without VR at all. So I might even just be talking business to business here right now. VR arcades or arcades in general, this is a really cool thing to add. They did hook you guys up with a discount code though. You get 10% off if you use code Larry on their website. I get a little something as well. It's a complete win-win. Honestly, I'm just really refreshed to see a company like Wonderfitter doing different stuff like this. Like the only products they really have on their website are smart bows and smart guns. Yeah, they have VR archery equipment. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. I'm back. I've been moving. Ugh. Seriously, big thanks to you patrons and YouTube members. You guys are the best. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.
Okay, here we go. It's just really top heavy.